This is Sherry, and you're rocking with a Chicago Clubhouse podcast, where they think they know everything about sports, but they really don't know shit.
Hey, pause your DVRs. This is Barika, the witty and edgy comedian extraordinaire. You are now listening to the Chicago Clubhouse podcast, where they think they know everything, but they don't know shit.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chicago Clubhouse Podcast. Tonight, I'm your guest host, Kay Ray, and we will be discussing mental health and athletics. We are being joined by a few ladies, so we're going to tell Terrence, T-Nick, bring the ladies in, please. Hi, Sherry.
Hey, K-Ray, how are you?
I am well. Hey, Deidre.
Hey, Cousin Kay. How are you?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you ladies for joining the show today. As you know, Chicago Clubhouse podcast is the podcast that thinks they know everything, but they really don't know shit. So we thought it was great to have people who do know some stuff about mental health, being an athlete, dealing with mental health on the show. Sherry is a D1 athlete at a Big Ten, and our Dr. D, our Deidre, is a psychologist at a Big Ten school as well. And what she doesn't know, I know, she used to be a cheerleader. So again, athlete. And for me, you know, football, flag football, basketball, and whatnot. So y'all ready to get into it?
Let's get into it. Yeah.
Okay. So in the news, we the Olympics is coming to it's come to an end. The Simone Biles really was a big thing, but first we had Okasana, who pulled out from the French Open, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was her first one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, from due to mental health issues, and now this, and then Serena came out and said, "Look, y'all don't know, my body is shot. I'm gonna retire," and just all of this mental health awareness is going on. So I figured, we just have a chat about it. What say you?
So I love this conversation when it comes up in the sporting world. You said I'm a Big Ten athlete, former Big Ten. I ran track at Penn State. I came out in 2006, and this really wasn't a thing that was really spoken about. Even in the early 2000s, it was kind of the suck it up and go type route. I myself have struggled with some personal mental health items, and I didn't get my diagnoses until after college. And it's like, wow, if I had grown up in this climate now where people actually speak about these things openly, I feel like I would have saved myself a lot of mental anguish, because I had undiagnosed mental health disorders, and it took a while. Like back in 07, 08, I wouldn't tell just anyone that I take meds for life or mental health. And now 2021, I'm like, yeah, where are my pills at? I really like how it came out. I think it really helps young athletes and people feel empowered to talk about what's going on in their heads.
Oh, definitely. I know, in high school, you think about it, like in high school, you had everything that was going on in high school, and then you were an athlete on top of it. So everyone that was coming out saying girls shouldn't be so emotional on the field. I know, like basketball, it was don't be so emotional, and girls don't play football, and just trying to struggle with gender roles and all of that. If somebody could have told me to go see somebody, I needed to. I really needed to. I'm thankful that the energy now is go take care of you first, right?
Yeah.
What are you seeing, Dr. D? What do you want me to call you? Or do you want to just say Deidre?
Dr. D is cool. Deidre, cousin. hey girl, hey, they're all okay if you're doing it with respect, right? So, right, that's it. But what am I seeing? I would say I've been in higher ed for probably over 20 years now. And what I am seeing, a lot of it is really hopeful. The fact that we have these premier athletes pushing the conversation to further destigmatize talking about mental health. The fact that we can have it with our moms and grandmas and talk about, oh, mom, really, what were those nerve pills, right, that you were taking? That was really for anxiety. We don't really talk about it in our families and openly. And we all, at some point, like Ms. Naomi, I'm gonna call her, put some respect on her name, talked about in the Time magazine article. She said it's not only okay to not be okay, but it's okay to talk about it. And so I was really fortunate that you all called me up, and I'm like, let's just talk about it and normalize it so that we can kind of relieve some of the stress and shame that comes with that. We would allow people to talk about a broken ankle or a strained ankle. Why not a strained heart or strained spirit or, anxiety, depression, whatever you have, trauma. So wonderful to be here.
Definitely. And speaking of like just mental health and understanding and correlating what went on with goodness gracious, y'all know I be having senior moments in my brain.
That's okay.
This is bad. Simone Biles, how she said she wasn't in a good mental health space that helped contribute to her having the twisties, right? And the twisties was, you don't know where you're going to land because you don't know where you are in the air. And it made me think about Okasana, because she's like in that headspace where you just don't know. You're confused. You want to perform, but then you don't know you can perform. You have social media coming at you. You have expectations coming at you. You have your sponsors coming at you. How do you know when to say, hold on, I need to back away?
Yeah, for Simone, that's potentially, a life and death type thing. And I had a conversation with a friend of mine who, when I really explained to him what twisties was, it kind of with him was like having vertigo, in the air, right? And so if someone's experiencing vertigo, we don't say, oh, well, just keep walking, you're going to fall over. And so it was a great way to think that it actually isn't just mental, it's manifesting itself in something physical, that, if she doesn't know where her feet are and she lands on her neck, we don't want to see that. We don't want to watch someone die in the Olympics or, get paralyzed. If you don't feel safe to do something, please don't do it.
What was that? The little girl, I cannot think of her name, but she's the one that had Amy, the one that had the really bad broken ankle. She was part of the last Fantastic Five, right?
Carrie Strong.
There you go.
So I just am listening to right now. 30 for 30 has a 7-part podcast on Bella Crowley. Ooh, honestly, terrible human being. The emotional and physical abuse he put those women through.
Yeah. And so she was, and I know she was saying how if then was now, she would have done exactly what Simone Biles did and set out. But
what permission?
She wasn't given the tools to be okay with herself to say that. She wasn't given, she felt powerless over her body. So I'm really thankful for these ladies saying that and taking their power, and hopefully it inspire other people to do that.
And you're talking about something really real right now when you say, why can't we're talking about women right now, right? Have agency over our own bodies, right? And say when to say no, not just in all situations, whether it's with assault, but also I can have the right to say, I'm not performing today, or can I take off work today? Why can't we? What about our system doesn't give us permission to have agency over our bodies in that way. And that's something to, dismantle. And so it's another form of bravery that these women out here are saying, yeah, I mean, we had so many examples coming up now. And so it's empowering.
So in our audience, we have a psychologist as well. At least I think I'm saying this right. Sonia Willis. She deals with mental health. She says, thanks for the open dialogue. Definitely normalizing mental health. But she piggybacked on what you said about the trauma, the sexual trauma. The impact is like fighting for your sanity every day on top of being a top athlete.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine, they all, we have, you try to woo-side and get game ready. You try to pull up everything. But then I know for me, I played football later in life after I had a husband and kids. And so based upon whatever my daughter was feeling or what her schedule was, then I had to get my head in the game and say, okay, I need to put that on the back run. But some days you just like, I really don't want to be here committed to this because my child needs me. She may got another parent, but she need me too. Heck, and that was 10 years ago. And I wasn't strong enough to say, yeah, I'm not about to do this right now. So it's definitely a shift. Yeah. Definitely a shift. Do you guys think that shift came because of COVID and you're at home and you got to deal with your own shit?
That certainly can be part of it. A lot of people have had more time to check in with themselves, right? We give our cars oil changes, we check grocery lists, but what about checking in with ourselves? How am I feeling, mind, body, and spirit, right? And so COVID certainly gave us time. But I would even argue that we have been each generation has been pushing the ball forward and raising the bar. And this new generation of athletes coming up, it's just phenomenal. I'm really proud of them for speaking up and speaking out in ways that show bravery and vulnerability to say, nah, it wasn't, yeah, I smoked a little weed, right? I just found out my mom died and this is how I found that out. I'm going to own what I did. I'm going to talk about the trauma in my life, and it is what it is. How powerful is that? And what permission does it give all of us the time to take inventory in our lives and say, it is what it is. Now let me work through this and give me the space to do that.
You look at someone like Sha'Carri, she got dropped by 0 sponsors. 0. Because she just came out and she said, yeah, this is what it is. And, so much support behind her. Nike wasn't going to drop her. She's going to be the face of the sport for the next few years, hopefully. So, it's great to see someone take maybe stumbling a bit and not feeling that financial repercussion that they might have felt 5-10 years ago, where sponsors were very quick to drop people at anything.
At everything. It's accountability. I can be accountable for my actions, but here, let me tell you why I made my choices. Let's talk about it. What are other tools? In everything that she did, she was like, I own it. I did it. I knew what the repercussions was. I still chose because I was hurting. That was the only tool that I knew to help.
Right.
So it allows for another conversation to show tools for grieving. Right. So I'm excited.
And not even just for grieving. I mean, her whole life. When you think about the not having your biological mom as someone who like most of us can't relate to that. I don't know how I would struggle with that, to be raised by her grandma. Very similar to Simone Biles. I mean, her adopted mom is her step grandma. Most of us don't have any idea what it's like to grow up with a mom that isn't able to take care of us.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Thanks, Alan. We know. Thanks.
Oh, everyone can see and hear you. That's awesome. But and you're right, Sherry, when you talk about there's certainly in some of our communities, it may be more prevalent to have trauma in homes, and some of us learn skills, and that's another reason I'm really proud that we're talking about it, because then we can have a discussion about what are the tools we can develop. What are the healthy relationships that we can develop, or develop our own families. So for social supports, being able to have healthy relationships, someone to talk to about just your everyday things, some of your hopes and fears, if where you're vulnerable, what you're afraid of. All of those things are important to have a safe space. That's just one tool, knowing when to take breaks, whether it's from, sometimes athletes, perhaps you drive yourselves to a point of performance that is exceptional. When do you get to take a break from that? And you only can determine that with you maybe in a trusted family member or coach or whatever, but certainly having agency over your own body, and when to say no would be a tool to use, and they're showing that tool.
Oh yeah.
There's many, many more tools in the toolbox that we have to grab, whether it's medication. I know we, can have that discussion. You can take a shot for diabetes and not talk about your auntie still getting a piece of pound cake and taking her shot. Why not? Why can't we talk about taking some anxiety medicine or nerve pill while you're still going to support groups or counseling or therapy? We just need to blow the, roof off of this stigma.
Yeah, and we're talking about these athletes, but like how many kids are out there that are growing up in similar situations that maybe might not be the next great athlete, but they might be the next great scientist or author or just a good lawyer, or but they don't have the tools that are going to help them succeed. And so it really, wow, we look at these athletes like, wow, they've overcome so much. Like, look at them. I don't want people to think, oh, well, I didn't overcome it, so I'm not as good as them. Like, it's rare to see someone overcome all these things that Simone Biles with, especially with like Larry Nassar and the sexual abuse and all. You're like, most people can't handle all that at a young age, and we have to make sure that we tell people that's okay. We don't expect you to do that.
Oh, definitely. I am a head football coach for a CPS high school. And so most of my team, all of my team right now are boys. But 2 years ago, I did have a girl on my team. And just to see her and hear her history and all of the things that she did, I always told her I would always be there. But they had tools. So what I didn't know, I was able to go to the school psychologist to turn her in to get some kind of mental health so that she could be better because she was going to graduate, So I'm glad that schools are taking that initiative now to say, hey, we know we're not deeming you with all of these mental health disorders or learning disabilities. We want to make sure that we empower you with tools to be better, to deal with it. Because you're going to, I guess, like, for instance, with depression, you're always going to have depression. You don't really, it comes and goes, right? It has ups and downs, mountains, whatever, mountains and valleys. Some days you're on top of the world and you done knocked it out the park. You the Muhammad Ali, I lead it. And then others, you in the bed under some covers crying and like, I don't want to deal with the world today.
That can certainly be true. And giving ourselves permission to rest. Rest is a form of resistance. I love the nap ministry on Instagram. A sister started that to give permission to ourselves for our own ministry. So whether you have a diagnosis of depression or just suffer from some of the symptoms, right, but not a clinical diagnosis, it's okay to rest. Those days where maybe you feel, like you said, on top of the world, like Muhammad Ali, and you'll perform, and then you set up your life in a way where you can rest throughout your days and not maybe have to swing so many pendulums trying to be on for the world or on for anyone else. And I think that's another thing that it's doing, is giving us every permission in our everyday lives, again, not just these athletes, but to take those mental health days. You don't have to call in sick just because you have the flu, right? If you have permit your time build up and you need a mental health day, take a day.
Oh yeah, I love that Candace Parker posed again naked. That's my girl. Look, that's my boo. That's my boo. And she just said, the first time I did it, I was pregnant and an athlete. And I wasn't quite sure of how my body, I wasn't secure in body. But now my stretch marks, my child is older. This is who I am. And I'm still a balling athlete.
That's awesome.
And I'm dealing with those things. And she talked about, mental health and caring for not just the body, but the mind and soul. So everybody is talking about it. And I'm so very, very thankful for it.
Yeah, Alan had a great comment on here. One of the most positive things about 2021 is that people in general have courage to speak out and not feel alone in this fight against mental health and sequential abuse in schools. I might have misspelled a word because I don't read out loud well.
Beautiful.
The pressure's on. I'm like, uh-oh. But yeah, Alan, that is definitely, I think a lot of people have realized that they're, even if you were quarantining alone and you felt by yourself and the symptoms of loneliness, you were not the only one feeling that way. And I think 2020 really showed people that.
Yeah. So what kind of, I guess, if we can give people some tools that we've learned that helped us cope or that we know we've given, what kind of tools could we give people right now, whether they're an athlete or not, just a person dealing with some stuff? What would you tell them?
From the athletic world, when I was reflecting on the topic of this podcast, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was back in my Penn State days, we had a sports psychologist at my school, which wasn't necessarily super common back in that time. David Euchelson, he was amazing. And he actually taught a class to athletes. Yes, we got credit for it, but it was one of the most things that I take with me from my college experience, teaching things about breathing and visualization for your goals and just all of this, like how to calm all that. You have all these feelings. My old teammate, Kristen Clemson, Dr. Kristen Clemson is watching this, and she said, "Uke was the bomb." Yeah. So, I didn't have those tools in my toolbox at that time. And the ability to take someone through guided meditation was amazing. I ran, I would say probably my best race in college, my senior year, one of our indoor meets. Right before I got to the starting line, he looked over at me and he said, "Trust yourself." And something about his voice was like the most calming presence. I was running the indoor 600 meters. My time on that, I lasted top 5 for Penn State for many, many years. Not on the top 5 list anymore. But there was something special about that race, and he was there for me. And it's, those, like Sonia said, the grounding techniques. Thank you. That was the word that I was looking for, was so helpful for athletics. Just the ability to visualize, just watch yourself doing it in your head and take it step by step is really great.
Yeah. I would just add to that. Those are really great tools and that we use. I mean, there's scientific evidence that meditation actually can change the way your brain works in order to produce things that are literally calming. It helps us focus. You can gain clarity. I know at the University of Illinois, at our counseling center, we offer daily meditation that anybody can just plug into. So we had to get creative during the pandemic and offer that online. Certainly defining what self-care means for you. Everyone should have a self-care routine, just like we have sleep hygiene, or we brush our teeth every day and floss. You should do the same with your self-care plan. And that may switch and turn. I know I love part of the way I move my body, because you mentioned cheerleading. That was way back in high school, long time ago. So I love to dance, and I've always been a dancer. So during the pandemic, I found Twitch, found my favorite DJs on IG. It helps you not feel alone, and you can dance and move your body. And I know maybe for athletes, finding ways that are part of your athletic training, whether that's bowling or, dancing, but finding ways, yoga certainly helps. And so those are just a few things I would add.
I've been a yogi for years. I can tell you, it is wonderful. Yeah, just something about, like, I can stretch all day, right? But if I'm actually doing the sequence, the order, breathing, it's a world difference.
And if you want to reach out and get a tune-up or have ongoing counseling, I mean, I'm a psychologist. I have to promote support groups or therapy, counseling. We've also made it okay to, I know Michael Phelps has a really strong partnership with some online apps and chat therapy, and that's makes it more accessible for some people. And so, yeah, go to counseling.
Yeah, that's what Alan just asked. How can people tap into that? A lot of people don't know how to find themselves meditating. I think that's what you said, Dr. D.
Yeah. So listen, there's on YouTube, there's tons of things. One that I recommend, it's called Leaves on a Stream. And there's several on there, but you can start with something as 2 minutes. There's a Leaves on a Stream meditation that's 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and it takes you with some guided meditation and visualization. And it allows you to not fight the thoughts that are with you and inside you, but to just notice them and let them pass through like leaves on a stream. And then you begin to learn how to sit with your thoughts, whether they're distressing. You begin to learn how to name them and then use them as tools rather than avoid them, which can lead to unhealthy, right, coping. And we all have them. Nobody's perfect, by the way. Nobody says, oh, I never, engage in bad coping habits. Liars. We all do. I have a therapist myself, and I'm a licensed therapist. So if we can be more vulnerable, have these conversations, mine is, looking at the sleeve of Oreos and like, oh my God, did I just mindlessly eat that whole sleeve? So, time to check in with my self-care habits. So that's one meditation that I would recommend.
You mentioned something that was super helpful for me to learn in therapy was learning to identify your emotions.
Yep.
A basic tool that we don't necessarily learn as children growing up, just the ability to say, I am angry, I am stressed, I am happy, I am sad, I am lonely, get those broad emotions and start to whittle it down a bit. And then having that therapy, I spent 7 years in therapy, and then taking it to that next level of like, okay, this is what my emotion is, learning to be okay with it, sitting with it, understanding it, and then taking that next step of like, okay, what are my tools to help me feel better about this moment? And wow, right?
Wow, that's it.
How to be a human, but it's like, that would have been really nice to learn when I was a kid, to say, hey, this is what I'm feeling. Because for me, it just came out and asked my mom, a tornado of everything. She didn't know what was going on, and the whole hangry thing that came out later. She was like, so all I needed to do was feed you.
You needed a Snicker. Yeah.
Snicker.
I find myself telling my daughter, just fix your face. I'm not trying to tell you can't be mad. I am just trying to tell you have to deal with it. Why are you like that? Tell me why you are feeling this way. Then we can deal with that feeling.
Yeah.
The old mama in me want to tell her, if you don't change your face, fix your attitude, we gonna fight, little girl. But because I am in therapy and I am working on communication and being in the present and trying to be in feelings, because I'm one of those people, forget your feelings.
Right.
I'm trying to better the 4-year-old, So.
And let's be real, with some communities of color, particularly Black, I'm not going to get too deep into this. We can do that on another show, cousin. But some of us were, my mother will be 85 in a few weeks and she's still kicking. But back in her day, they weren't allowed to show particular emotions in public because it could be dangerous. You can't get angry in South Mississippi at the store. And so generationally, those things, whether that's in the African-American community, there's Latino, Latinx communities, maybe that were taught their own cultural understanding, whether you have a Polish background. So there are definitely cultural nuances to how we were taught to manage our emotions. And that's why it's important that we listen to a diverse set of folks. And I love that Michael Phelps, right? And Simone is coming out so that we know that our mental health matters no matter where you come from or who you are. So I just wanted to
our parents did the best that they could do. I came from a German households. So, Germans, discipline, punishment, like you don't talk back, like, not necessarily a lot of praise. My parents are very loving, but it's not like a lovey-dovey. I didn't get it's not a gold star giving, like even now my mom will be like, aren't you proud of me? I'm like, yeah, what do you want? Like you raised me like this,
right? Sure.
Moving. But it's also accepting that our prior generations did the best that they could with what they had at the time, and then taking that, learning it. So I'm not necessarily blaming them, because we don't want to necessarily put the blame on our parents and our grandparents. Like everyone was just doing the best that they could. Most people are doing the best that they could with the given circumstances.
And now the coaches are changing. They're changing the whole game. And so, because you can push somebody and also nurture them, having a balance of challenge and support really provides the best environment for growth, right? So you can't just only challenge and no support. And I think by Simone Biles coming out and talking about wanting to change how they're coached and the environment for training is very brave. And I know it's going to be helpful for folks to come.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely.
my high school track coach, I just want to say about the challenge or the nurturing. I was on one of the top 10 high school track programs in the country. So very challenging, right? Coach was also German, but he had this catchphrase that was like, "But do I love you?" Yes, Westy, you do.
Oh,
but you have to feel that. I
got to feel that love.
Amazing coaches, and so that's probably why I had so much success. Was my coaches.
Awesome. Before we switch topics, because there's a lot of things going on in the sports world, and we as fans have some mental health issues going on right now.
Come on now.
I want to thank our sponsor, Trey Bella Nail Spa. They we got a commercial for them, so hit it, T.
Tranquility, Trey Bella. Alleviate the stress of your day. A fresh approach to nail care service at the top of the pampering scale. Awaken your senses with no chemical smells. Relax. We're at your service with professional, personalized treatments. Enjoy a manicure or pedicure tailored to you. Trey Bella Nail Spa, 10349 South Halsted in Chicago. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Trey Bella Nail Spa or book at TreyBellaNailSpa.com.
I want to go. I need some mental health, and and that's also one of the places that you can go and really pamper yourself. You may be getting a manicure or pedicure, but it's time to be by yourself. You don't have to talk to them. So we about to switch topics, sort of. So now, how do we as fans? I'm one of them fans. Like I'm all football, then a little basketball. Not really a big baseball, but I did have two favorite, Cubs players. I loved me some Rizzo and some Baez, and now they gone. And I'm really furious. Like, really, really, you have no idea, furious. So I know it's another Cubs fan that Terrence is going to pull in with us. But until she gets here and he pops her in, how do you guys doing? Are you guys fanatics? And are you dealing with all these trades? And how are you guys dealing with this?
I mean, I'm gonna rock my Rizzo jersey at the Crosstown Classic. I'm true Cubs fan since Sandberg and Lee Smith, and and then I'm just gonna have to do what I do. I think as Chicago fans, though, we learn to kind of ride with rebuilding seasons. I'm not gonna say losing seasons.
We learn to ride or die with losing seasons.
We learn it, and
I'm a Bears fan, gonna bleed in. I'm a die Bears fan, whether we win or lose. I'm a ride or die, but
I'm a Detroit Lions fan, so
okay. Right, you definitely know what it's like to just march.
Let me tell y'all about the Pistons have been rebuilding since 06, 07 when we just tried.
Right.
When Wallace went away, or she, Chauncey, all of them, and we got nothing. We got nothing in returns.
Wow.
So I've been feeling it. Looks like Sonia's a Sox fan, and
me too.
No,
Southsider, Southside.
It's okay. You know, my daughter was born on the South Side. It's okay. My brother's going to the game with me. Definitely a Sox fan. But rebuilding definitely sounds better than losing season. And, you know, you got to learn to celebrate those little wins in life.
Listen,
and
Tigers
in
have been rebuilding since we traded Verlander. It's been bad, but I do live right by Wrigley Field, so I have sucked in the Cubs energy, and you know, Tigers and Cubs, I can cheer for them all. It's the same, as long as I don't cheer for the Sox.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's hey, no.
It took her a second.
It's the energy for me. Just, I guess I have to get over individual loyalty and stay loyal to the team. And that's always difficult.
Yes, there you go.
I boycotted the NBA for the last 4 years because of what I was seeing in the playoffs. Like it would be 100, they would win by 20, 30 points. And then the next game they would lose by 40 points and then win. But I'm like, y'all, I'm playing with my emotions. I can't take it. So no, I'm not about to watch y'all anymore. But now it's more even. And it's really truly any given day. So I want to find loyalty again. But everybody getting traded. I think Westbrook for basketball. Westbrook done played for every dang on major team.
Right. Look, he has to get his.
I really can't. He has got so many jerseys.
Dwayne Wade said he coming out of retirement to play back for the Lakers. I'm like, look, dude, really?
It can feel like an abusive relationship if you think about it too hard, right? It can be like, now, wait a minute, just when I was starting to really think you were charming me and we starting to win. So that's why you just gotta kind of separate it a little bit, like you said, and just roll with it and just say, look, I'm a Chicago fan, I'm a Cubs fan, focus on something else until we rebuild. But when we get the wins, it can be really exciting. The Sox are doing, you know, who are the Sox fans? I'm not sure, but they might have a run at it, right? So look, don't talk about me if I jump on the bandwagon and you see me in a Sox.
So
you never see me in Sox.
Well, you know what?
You would never. Okay, you ride and die.
I ride or look, as a Detroit fan, I'm used to losing, unfortunately. So
that's real.
Fine with riding and dying.
Oh my God. So yeah, I know that and I get that, but when you are so vested, right? So people talk about me like a dog because I'm like, I am Chicago, but I love the Sox. I'm not rooting for. I won't root for the Cubs. But when they won the World Series, I'm like, well, I have to root for them because I'm still a Chicago girl. But do you know how hard it was to say, let's go Cubs?
It's actually go Cubs, go.
Hey, or it's hey, what do you say? Cubs are gonna win today.
There you go.
Hey, what do you say? Go Cubs win. Remember Harry Carey back in the day? So yeah, you say that.
Yeah, so hopefully the Sox give me back some pride, and we can do better because we've been losing for many, many years. We turned into the Cubs of the South Side. So hopefully we can.
And that's a little shade on the slide. So
yeah. Oh, so Clemson says she feels she's a Penn Stater in a Hawkeye state, in a Buckeye state. Yeah,
that's hardcore.
Yeah, I'm from Ann Arbor and I went to Penn State, so I know all about crossing the bridge. But worse for her, she actually, she chose Penn State over Ohio State. She lives in Ohio.
Well, you know, the Ohio State, I would have too. I went to Michigan State during my undergrad time, but I worked for University of Illinois. So I'm, listen, it's who signs my paycheck. So I'll put on some blue and orange as long as they're not playing the Spartans.
Sonia says it's the resilience for her. I I get that. Yes, it's the resilience. Yes.
Well, you know, everything we talked about today, grounding techniques, right? Visualization, meditation.
We got to believe we can win,
instead
right?
of doing that before your own performance, you do that before your team, right? And so
basically, you got to keep supporting them so they can feel right.
Mm-hmm. Alan, I went to Illinois State, so I can't do the ILL. I cannot. I'm a red bird. So no, Alan, we're not going to go with, he's starting to sing his Illinois song.
He wants somebody to say I and I. There you go, Alan. Hey, I and I.
Saying, well, not me, maybe Dr. D, but not me.
I did it. Listen, I did it for the culture.
There you go. Ladies, I really thank you guys for coming on. I hope that our viewership learned something today, learned that it's okay. No matter what's going on with you, it's okay to say, I'm not okay. And
yes, sure.
And that makes you an extremely strong person, whether you know it or not, to say, I'm not okay. I need help.
And
right?
Can I put a little plug in for if you really are not feeling and you need somebody? I used to volunteer for the crisis text line. And so you don't even need to be on the phone. It was created, you know, because so many people prefer texting now. I don't have the number right off the top of my head because it's been a few years since I volunteered there. But they're volunteers. Honestly, I did 40 hours of training just to become a volunteer for there. The people there are ready. They have all the resources you need. And so if you really need somebody to talk to and you don't know where to turn, crisis text line, RAIN for women, National Suicide Preventive Hotline. There are people out there, and you're going to be talking to somebody like me who is, or Dr. D, you know, someone that is invested in you and actually does care about you and wants to listen to you.
Yes, ask for help. And if somebody comes to you and says and talks to you in a vulnerable way, have empathy in a way that's caring and tell them it's okay, and maybe even share your own struggle. Not in a way to take over the conversation, but make it a carefrontation or carefrontation, right? And you talk about that and have empathy, because we all have struggles sometimes. So,
and you should feel, if someone's opening up to you, take that as a sign that they care about you, because they're trusting you with the piece of them.
And you don't have to be their therapist. Use all those resources that Sherry said.
You know, some people
just
listen and to have their feelings validated and acknowledged. And so that's really that's my end of the spiel.
The texting crisis text line is, you text home to 741741 to connect with a trained crisis counselor. Again, that number is 741741. Okay.
All right.
Use it.
Sonia also said, search the Psychology Center of Beverly in Chicago. Thank you, Sonia. Appreciate that.
Thank you. So thank you, ladies. I'm about to bring Erica in to give us our dishing of what's going on the hit show, The Chi.
Okay. And I'm going to exit when she comes in. I'll keep watching you all. It's been fun.
Thank you,
ladies.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. All right. So while Erica is getting in, I've caught up with The Chi. I hate to say that I was one of those people who literally never watched it because I was never at home long enough to watch it. And so I just binge watched all the seasons, and now I'm hooked. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. Pretty excited. Thank you again to Sherry and Dr. D. We're gonna get to, I done got out of everybody, and so it's not here. So I guess I'm Erica. She's not in yet, but I guess I need to give you, Terrence, you want to get on and we talk a little bit before she gets in, or do you want me to give what's going on the shot? What would you like? Matter of fact, Terrence, get on the screen. I was too fast. Sorry.
You were doing just fine. Yeah, you could give a brief synopsis of The Chi. I don't know what Erica has going on. I don't know exactly when she's coming. But Kristen is here. I guess the Cubs talk is over though, but maybe she has something else she wants to talk about. I know she also has an organization she might want to mention. So I'm gonna bring her in and I'm gonna jump out.
Thank you. Hi, Kristen. Hey, Mom.
Hi, how are you?
I am well. How are you? It's so nice to meet you.
Yes, it is. Nice to meet you as well.
Fine. We don't have to talk, but more. We just had to deal with mental health of all of the trades and how I really loved Rizzo and Baez. Those are the only two people I actually rooted for. I think, and maybe Derek. It was a black guy named Derek or something, right?
A while ago. There was a Jason Hayward that's black.
Oh, hey, there you go. See, that's how much I'm a Sox. I don't really follow baseball, but we just had that talk. So, tell us what's going on, boo. What's going on with the Cubs?
Well, I finally have gotten over it, kind of. All three of them were my favorite: Chris Bryant, Baez, and Rizzo. You knew it was coming because when they lost the 11 games and they were no longer in first place and they looked terrible, but you just still never want to see it happen. So it was still a shock. And you also don't want to face facts that you're probably going to be bad for a while. Although the Cubs really can't afford to be bad very long because fans aren't going to stand for it. In the past, when the Cubs were lovable losers, they always had high-powered, they had attractions from Ryan Sandberg, Mark Grace, Sammy Sosa, Andre Dawson, so on and so on. And now they don't have any attractions. No one's really going to want to see, no one's going to turn to watch Wilson Contreras. We all like Wilson. So they really can't afford to be the lovable losers with people like Madrigal and Nico Horner. No one's watching that.
Yeah, I don't know who they are.
Yeah, so you don't even know who they are. And really no one's watching Jason Hayward, the one black guy that you talking about.
See,
he's not good. He's good defensively, but offensively, no. And we've been watching the bad for years. So yeah. So I'm gonna wait to see what they do in the off season. It's probably not gonna be good, but I don't know. I just I'm over it now, kind of. I watch at them and they're bad, so
okay.
I can't do it. So
my great grandmother loved the Cubs. My uncle and my cousin and my aunt watch it faithfully. And anytime my cousin is bedridden from MS. So anytime he gets really angry and he has no control over his arms and his arm flies up, I'm like, you know what? Maybe you should cut the game off. He's like, damn, Cubs, cut it off.
Yeah, they can, they cause a lot of stress. They cause you to cuss. And that's any team. The Sox fans are doing that with their team. Although they have such a big lead, it's okay. But you still don't want to see your team losing by 5 to the Royals far tonight. So, it's and the one thing, like I see these comments, the White Sox are killing it and picking at the Cubs wound with taking Kimbrel. Okay. But, I just think, Sox fans just worry about your winning team. Why are you worried about the Cubs and their fans? You all have the winning team. You always talk about no one gives them any shine. Well, that's because their own fans aren't even worried about them yet. So just worry about your team. We're going to be bad, Cubs. We know this. We are facing the facts that we're going to be bad. So just celebrate you, White Sox. Celebrate you.
Yeah, we're all Bears fans. So.
Right. And the famous words of Kenny Williams, stay out of Cubs business. So White Sox, you worry about you because Kenny Williams says stay out of White Sox business. So now you stay out of Cubs business. It's bad business, but just don't worry about it. Just worry about it.
And so Terrence was saying you have a new organization, Kristen. What's that? Tell me about it.
So it's actually not new, but I have a nonprofit co-founded with my college friend Hassan. It's called Be the Miracle. And we are developing youth leaders to help us fight against crime in Chicago. So our mission is to take back the communities, rebuild them, and take them back to end the cycle of violence in the city. And we do that through promoting education, mentoring, and programs like that, financial literacy. So we have a Man Up program for our young men. We have Be Empowered for our young women, mentor programs. Be the Scholar, we give out scholarships. Then we are just starting something new next year called Be the Change Projects, where small classrooms, some other organizations, small groups, churches, anyone like that who has an idea for an event or a project that will improve their community and bring the community together. We are giving small grants for those groups. So that's starting this fall.
And what's that website that we go to?
www.bethe-miracle.org.
Thank you so much. I'm definitely going to take a look at it. It's so important. Our kids are so very, very important.
Yes. And we have our big event in September, hopefully COVID doesn't mess it up. We're at South Shore Cultural Center. We're in the bigger room. We're separating everyone. We have masks. We have Be the Miracle masks. We will be practicing social distancing and everything like that. So we're hoping it's going to be hosted by Tia Ewing from Fox 32 News. And we'll be honoring Kendall Gill. So this is a sports show. So we'll be honoring former NBA star Kendall Gill. Pamela Blackman, she's CEO of Joy Management Events and Entertainment. Paulette Franklin, she's part of the Shy Cats, the cheering squad. Sybil Holloway, she does the Sib's Breakfast Club. And we have 3 of our Young Man Up participants who are being honored as future miracle makers. And then the Sainin family and Reggie McGee, they're our BTM Lifeline. So it's tickets are $75. That includes dinner, complimentary beer, wine, Uncle Nearest whiskey tasting. Be music by Emilio Bucks. We'll have Edith Yokley will be performing. She's been on the show before.
Yes.
Violinist, she will be performing for us. So it's going to be a really great night, and we hope to have it. But you can check that out on the website as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kristen. I definitely will be looking into that. Everybody, please go and look. Say that website again, Kristen, before you leave us.
www.bethe-miracle.org.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you. Right. Nice meeting you. Have a good night.
You as well.
Thanks.
You guys, now we're going to bring in Erica so that she can give us the lowdown on the Shy.
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm great. Good to see you.
Girl, because of you, I had to go back and watch all of the episodes all over again. And now I'm like hooked.
Okay. So you caught up on everything, right?
Girl, give me the tea. Go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So part of one of the major things I felt like was major last week was when we didn't know what was going to happen with Marcus. Marcus is Gemma's father. And the mayor, Duda, had beat him. Looked like he had beat him to death. Okay.
Yes.
Trig came in and was like, what's going on? And was trying to save him. And Duda's like, let him die. Okay. So apparently Trig didn't listen to that. Because when this part opens, we see that Trig is in the car with Rashad. So I guess Rashad is picking him up and the ambulance was called. So they're getting him, Marcus, to the hospital. Okay. However, Jake is still with Gemma. And of course, he's trying to like withhold this from her because he doesn't really know what's going on. He doesn't know if Marcus is alive or dead or how that even all went down. So he doesn't even know what to tell her. Mm-hmm. She's trying to go home because they had went to a hotel after the spring dance.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no, it's too late. Just stay with me or whatever. It's no way I'll get you home in enough time. So Gemma goes to his house and here it is on the news, right? So Gemma overhears it and she's like, oh my God, you know, like, I got to get to the hospital, you know, this, that, and the other. So Jake takes her to the hospital. So at this point in the show, the episode, everything's up in the air. We don't know what's going to happen with Marcus. We know that he's like in the hospital and he's not doing well. So we'll come back to that. So we do finally go back to Nina and Dre. Because remember, we have been left hanging for a couple of episodes after Nina told Dre that she cheated. So now we see they're still not really back right. But now Dre wants the girl that Kevin that he plays video games with. She called her in the house, so she knows that they're friends, but she also knows this girl's backstory, and she's, you know, has some dealings with social services and everything like that. So she's trying to get the girl to stay with them. So during a conversation, she asks Nina about it. And while they're discussing whether or not they can take this girl in, they also discuss, you know, what to do about their relationship. So Nina's like, I'll do the work. I'll do the work if you do the work with me, you know, and all of that. So it looks like they might be, you know, kind of getting more on a stable field, you know, like they're working towards getting back together. They both want to get back together. And then also with Keisha and the new baby and the problems with Kevin, it's like, we don't need to break apart when everything else is already kind of up in the air anyway. It's like there's several things going on in that household. So, you know, breaking up it's not the time to be breaking up now. Okay. They got a bigger fish to fry.
Definitely.
So now back on the relationship tip, we got Emmett and Tiff, right? So
goodness gracious.
They're trying to work through this open marriage, and Emmett is not feeling it at all.
Yeah, because what's good for the goose, he can't handle. When the gander do it, baby. I know.
Right. And so, and you know, Tiff, she's like, hey, it's an open marriage. She's not even trying to hide it. She's staying out all night, coming back in, just like, yeah, what's up? like it's no big deal that you just pulled an all-nighter.
She on my list now though.
Because she about to mess up.
She on my list for what she just did. Tell them what she did.
Right. I'm getting to that. And what makes it so foolish to me is she just had the conversation with Dante. And she was like, should I leave Emmett? And Dante is like, why would you do that? Yeah. I'm not your husband. I'm just your dude. You know, like, I'm just your guy. Call me when your son need a haircut or something. That's it. You know. And then right after they have that conversation, you think that maybe Tiff is having second thoughts. Like, you know what? I should just go home, be with my husband, this, that, and the other. They talk about it during this, because Emmett has a celebration for Jada. I'll get to that also. But during that party, they discuss it. And he's like, I realize how much you mean to me, how important my family is. And she's like, yeah, you know, I wanted to be that way too. And then that very night, she dips out and goes to see dude that she had been working with something with her weed. Yeah, her edible.
That's Mr. Schubert. That
at first, but at first it was
that's Tatiana's husband.
Oh, is it?
Girl, yeah, that's Miss TT husband.
Oh, okay. I was wondering why he looked familiar. But I'm like, at first, the way she was talking to him, I thought she was gonna be easy, you know, and be like, nah, I'm not on that no more. And then she go leaving out the house.
Tramp.
But I'm like, where was Emmett when she left out?
He was asleep. He was knocked out. They didn't have their little groove session. She put
him to sleep. She put him to sleep and moved on to the next one.
Yeah, you done snuck out. There are rules and boundaries for open relationships. You can't just get it and then not even 6 hours later go do somebody else. That's not okay.
Right.
Look, normally
First of all, that's not safe. First off, that's not safe and nasty. You're transporting germs and other people's bacteria.
You couldn't even take a shower. Tiff couldn't even take a shower because it was that fast and you trying to seek out. You did a whole bath in the shower. So how dare you? I'm so mad at her.
Right.
I'm not a judgy person because everybody, she's
known for that though, not taking showers in between. We've seen her do that before. When she was over there with Dante and came and laid right up with Emmett.
Girl, I'm so mad at her right now. I could throw a book at her.
Oh yeah, her behavior is I'm not proud of her behavior.
But Emmett is getting it. He's feeling it. All the years that you have been a womanizing dog because you were never truthful. So I can call you a dog because you weren't truthful with what you were doing.
Absolutely.
Now you have this lady who's truthful and telling you, I'm doing somebody else. I want a little. What she said? She said, I like a variety.
Right. And he can't take it.
You can't take it. So I'm laughing at Emmy like, ha. You have no.
He can't take it. He can't take it.
Mm-mm.
And so they might, they're still looks like gonna be on the outs because she's not stopping, and he's gonna find out, and so he might leave. He already said he was moving out.
Yeah.
So he came back that one night. He might be gone the next.
Yeah. So that's fine, man. Temptation, no boundaries. She tripping. Yes, she is, Sonia. Yes. But go ahead. It was some more. It was some good stuff too.
So okay. So we got that, and I mentioned that. So Jada had a call from her doctor, and they're saying the way her tests are looking good, so that she may not have to do any more chemo. Whew, I'm happy for that because I didn't want it to be a sad story. I'm like, oh, where are they going with this? I'm like, please don't, don't make it that way. You know what I'm saying? We already went through last season with Keisha being abducted, and our hearts just, it's like we don't need any more of that. We need some good positive stuff. Okay.
Oh yes.
So they had that party for that, and that was a nice celebration.
Can I ask you? Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What is up with Emmett Daddy and her? Did I miss something? Because he surely is awfully friendly with his high school sweetheart that he did wrong.
Right. And where is Dom?
Yeah.
So all I know is last episode, he ended up over there. I guess once he found out she was sick, I guess he started trying to come around and do more for her. Okay. And so they showed him over there, and he was like, sit down somewhere. You don't need to be in the kitchen. I got this. I'll make you my famous pork chops and all of that. They was talking about rubbing feet and all.
Yeah.
So, though, sometimes those high school sweethearts, that love is hard. Those last, those feelings come back up.
They do.
Because they look to me like they're okay with each other right now. I don't think they would ever get back together, anything like that. I think it's just like, okay, look, we old, I'm sick. We've been back and forth through the years fighting and stuff. Our son is grown. Can we just be cool? And then she got sick. I think that might have scared him. Like, man, I know I don't want to be with her, but dog, I don't want her to die,
Yeah, because I get you.
Because I have a friend who's kind of like that with her children's father. It's like they no longer fighting about being together and nothing like that. They don't, either one of them wants that, but they pretty cool now because there's none of that. There's no jealousy if somebody gets somebody new. It's like, look, we got these kids and this is what we do for them.
It shows, that co-parenting can exist.
Right.
Remain friends.
Exactly. And they've been trying to show a lot of that on The Chi lately. Yeah. We touched on that last week about how Emmett was over there talking to his other baby mama, just talking.
Yeah, just
He was
talking.
actually talking to her about his marriage,
Yeah, and told her, "You look good, boo. You know,
Yeah.
enjoy your man."
Yeah. So, getting back to the Duda Marcus Trigg Gemma Jake story. Okay.
Yeah.
So now Mark is still in the hospital. The mayor, Duda, has this press conference. He speaks and Tracy speaks. And Tracy's asking him, like, well, did you have anything to do with Marcus? And he's like, of course I didn't. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. She believes him. They go to dinner. She's talking about she's falling in love with him and stuff. Meanwhile, okay, Marcus is making a recovery. So Jake ends up telling Gemma everything that happened, right? Or what he saw happen. And he also tells her, like, but it was Trigg. Trigg is the reason why your daddy is okay, because he's the one who called the ambulance. But if he gets mixed up in it, he's going to go to jail anyway because of his criminal past, right? Guilt by association. And you're already a criminal in and out of the system. They're going to nail him.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, Gemma goes to the house. She's like, my dad has tapes everywhere. So she gets the surveillance tape, right, on the little flash drive. But she's like, I can't watch it. I can't bring myself to watch it. But she goes and gives it to Jake and Trigg so that, Trigg can have it, do what he wants to do with it, and he won't go down. You know what I'm saying? Nobody will ever have to know that he was even there, okay, because he has the footage. So nobody's going to see it. Now, I don't think I would have done this. Trigg goes over to Duda, and now he's like, I got the footage of what happened, this, that, and the other. And so Duda's like, how much do you want for it? And Trigg is like, I don't want any money for it. I want you to just leave, go away from here, leave town. Now, in the back of my mind, I would be thinking, if I show Duda this, that I have this footage, he probably gonna kill me right there on the spot, because that's what type of savage he is. I'm like, he gonna beat me to death like he did Marcus.
Yeah.
But it goes in there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so Tracy is still at Duda's house when this happens, right? So she overhears this conversation. So after Trigg leaves, she comes out and she's like, you lied to me. You told me you didn't have nothing to do with this, that, and the other. So she's like, you know what? You do need to leave. Because if this gets out that you did this, it's not only going to mess up your name, it's going to mess up my name and this whole organization. Mm-hmm. Because everything that you have done is going to be put out there. And since you have been so involved in helping my organization, I'm going to get ran through the mud too.
Yeah. So
then after that, we see Candy pulling up, old wife, right? And she's like, one day I'm not gonna be here to bail you out. He was like, you will. And she's like, where are we going? He's like, up out of here. So I guess he is just gonna bounce. I guess. But I don't see how that's just gonna go away though.
Not at all, because Marcus woke up.
Exactly. So if Marcus wants to press charges, look, they can take that footage. I don't know. But if I don't know how that goes, because sometimes in the legal system gets twisted. I'm thinking if Marcus is waking up and he wants to press charges, he can, but that still might implicate Trigg. Even if Marcus says, no, it wasn't Trigg. But sometimes that doesn't matter.
You guilty by
they prosecute you anyway. Unless there is proof that, Trigg called the police and this, that, and the other. Now we don't know, but remember, we don't know exactly what happened from the time Duda said, let him die, till the time they're taking him to the ambulance. So we don't know if that footage is on the flash drive. Now, if it's on there that Trigg is calling the ambulance to get help, then he might be all right.
Yeah, and he's all right because he wasn't inside when Duda did it. Remember, he was on the front porch.
That's true.
And he came in and saw Marcus like, dude, what are you doing?
Saw, what are you doing? So if all that footage is there, because sometimes cameras missing.
Off,
they don't go straight through. So
Duda's
don't know.
I don't think Marcus is going to tell on Duda, but they're going to use it to their advantage to keep Duda away.
Yeah,
because
probably.
His child is vulnerable. Why? Because she don't listen. She thinks she know. I'll be ready to
little girl.
I'll be ready to wring her little woke neck.
She's overexposed, too grown.
Oh my goodness!
Like she's doing too much. I don't care about my SATs.
I don't want to go to an Ivy League school.
Right. You don't have a choice.
Okay, where you want to go? What you want to do?
Somebody called her a tramp. Oh.
I bet you that's because he's a Kevin fan and still mad at her for breaking that boy's heart.
Breaking his heart. I'm mad too about that.
He went against girl code. You don't do the bros. You don't do best friends. That's girl code 101. But she didn't. Her mother's not in her life
to
tell her girl code. So I blame my mama, wherever that heifer is.
Okay, because she's just running wild. And he said it last week. Duda said it when Marcus said, keep Jake away from my daughter. And Duda was like, last time I heard, it was your daughter running around screwing everybody. Oh, now that was disrespectful right there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That was disrespectful, but
yeah. But I said, Jake.
What you gonna do next? Go after Papa?
Papa ain't going nowhere. That boy is so love struck.
Papa is. He's love struck. But now Kevin acting silly over this new girl.
I think I think this is a good fit for him. They like video games. She's not overly bossy. Like he needs a bossy woman.
Yeah.
That's why Papa's girlfriend, well, not the girlfriend. That's why he liked her, because she was bossy. Like, no, you gonna do what I tell you to do.
She right, kind of aggressive, like she holds her own.
Yeah, so he likes that. So that's why I really think he likes this new girl.
Yeah.
I like
because he liked Maisha. He just, since she wasn't hot, Papa's girl, since she wasn't the it girl, he didn't want to date her. He's like, I don't like her. He did like her.
He gave her his bike. He liked her. You liked her. Don't be a chubby lover in the dark.
All right. You know what I'm saying? Tell the truth.
Right.
So it pretty much ended on like looked sort of like they were having like a block party or some type of festival. Everybody was out. People were jumping rope. Papa was on his broadcast with the music going and everything else. So, that was a good end to a season, the way that went out.
It was. And I also really appreciated that Jason Williams, his I can't think of what his Rasad.
That he came back? Yeah.
Yeah, but he went after the guy that disrespected.
Yeah, Imani. Yeah.
I'm like, see, she didn't want to say it, but she felt protected. And she so I think they're in a very good space right now.
Yeah, and then when the dude was like, "Oh, I guess that's your woman," and he's like, "No, that's my family." I was like, good for you, Jason Weaver.
Right.
Because the other way, that was like, yeah, you kind of being a jerk.
Yeah, it's okay. Yep. Very much so. Very much so. I'm looking forward. Keisha got a boyfriend.
Yeah.
I love the note.
Good too.
I love the note. You remember back in the day when the boys?
Yes. Will you go with me? Check.
Girl, you remember that? I loved it. Yes.
Yeah, that was too cute. I'm like, oh, somebody send me a note.
Yes, it was very, very nice. I loved it. I like where that storyline is going. I liked that I saw, was it this episode that Tabitha Brown came and she gave her the picture of her and the baby?
That was last episode.
Okay, that was the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was hoping that she was gonna make her the godmama at least.
I think she is gonna do something like that. I don't think that's the last of Tabitha, period.
I hope not.
Because they were developing like a relationship, you know, a friendship, kind of like a, you know, I feel like the lady that Tabitha is playing is kind of more nurturing or understanding than Keisha's actual parents. Keisha's actual parents trying to get their stuff in order. They don't, you know, they running around. But this lady is like stable and down to earth, and you know, can tell her things like, well, it depends on how you're feeling. If you want to do this, you want to. Whereas her parents are kind of like,
no,
flying by the seat of their pants with it. Like, no, you can't do that. But then your son got women spending the night and you don't know it. You know, it's like,
I don't know what kind of mamas they is, because I can't look. You can't open the door in my house and not know.
Right.
I'm a mama. You can't sneak nobody in my house.
Right. I'm like, how is that happening?
It is not.
Not in high school. No. And the bedrooms are right down the hallway, huh? Like,
girl, I don't know. Miss 30. I don't even want to mispronounce your name. Siosan. She said, I didn't understand how Duda just left. He's the mayor of Chicago. Us either.
Right. Right.
Maybe he going on a 2-week vacation.
How was he just gonna disappear?
It didn't make sense either. But you know,
fake his death or something.
Yeah.
Hey, you can't. Hey, on these types of shows, you know, you can't put it past anybody.
Not at all. Not at all. Well, I'm so thankful that because of you, I have fallen in love with this show and binge watched it, and now I'm hooked, and I am so looking forward to the next season.
It will get you hooked, girl. It will get you hooked. Once you start watching, I remember in the beginning starting watching it like, okay. In the beginning, it didn't really feel like Chicago though, but I was like, I'm gonna keep watching it. Next thing I know, it started getting good. I was like, okay, this is my new thing.
Oh yeah. I had my cousin was in season 1. He was the boy at the private school that took their drugs to sell the drugs. He sort of looked like Kevin, but he wasn't Kevin.
In season 1.
From the Shed Aquarium, he was from the private school.
I'd have to go back and look.
Yeah, so I was able to finally tell my cousin, oh, I watched you on the show.
Right.
He said, that was 3 years ago. You sorry, I'm late. You know, because it's always late. So be happy. I'm supporting. I'm supporting. So yeah.
Right.
So yeah. So thanks, Erica.
No problem, girl.
So you get a break. You get a reprieve for what? How long does it normally take before they release another
it comes back on? That's a good question. I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
Because, you know, I have my stuff on my DVR, so it just goes, and then next thing I know, oh, the Shy's back on. Oh, Power. Oh, you know, it just pops back up. So.
Okay. Well, we'll figure it out and make sure we have you back real soon. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Chicago Clubhouse podcast, where we think we know it all, but we really don't know shit. I'm your guest host, K-Ray. This is Erica. Go ahead.
Erica with the Shy Review. Thanks for listening, guys.
Yeah. Thank you. It was all about women and athletes and mental health. Today, we had some earlier discussion. Everybody, again, please know who you are. You're strong enough to admit when you need help. Use the resources. Thank you and have a great evening. Peace.
Okay. Bye-bye.